And we're live!
Guys, the new game show, name what Buddhist symbol cacti looks like.
Name what Buddhist symbol cacti
looks like. What does cacti look like?
Please, that's not the kind of...
Buddhist symbol.
That's not the kind of audience we're trying to build here, please. Let's just leave that at the door.
Hello everyone, so another question. Is that a green screen? We've been hearing you guys ask the question. Ralph touching it does not mean it's not a green screen, because it could be just one of those hard green screens.
Yeah, true.
I had a few to drink last night, people.
I did.
Okay, I had a few to drink. I went and saw a funny story before we start.
First of all, I want to hear from the chat. Are we in focus? Okay,
Okay.
because we got rid of the transitions, by the way, which you'll notice as we move back and forward. So we'll come back to that. And I want to know if we're in focus, because that was a challenge last time. And that's it. Anyway, Sam, on with the story.
Okay, guys, so I went and saw a very funny comedian last night, okay? Everyone knows good old Jim Owen, right? And ultimately, we've seen him before.
People saying it's not, it's blurry.
It's a tad blurry.
It's so annoying. We literally
Let me just have a look at
so
this.
hard to get this correct. So
Yeah, I reckon the focus is on the...
it's on the mic.
I don't know if we can do that mid... I don't know if we can do that mid-stream.
I don't know.
It looks a bit blurry. It does look a bit blurry.
blurry.
Well, guys, we're going to do this.
Sam can tell stories while I'm...
Okay, guys, this is the story as he fixes this, okay? So I was at Jim Owen last night. A lot of people know who Jim Owen is.
Americans probably don't know who Jim Owen is.
Okay, comment section, do you guys know who Jim Owen is? Very funny Scottish fella. I'm pretty sure he's Scottish or Irish or something.
He's Irish,
right?
bro. Jesus.
No, I'm pretty sure he's Scottish, but anyway. Ralph doesn't know shit, right? We went there. I've already seen him before. I went with Thick Boy, and whoever's watched our vlogs before, we also went with the guy that the Uber driver that drives us to the airport, and he's on the show.
They're not going to remember that dude.
I mean, some people would actually remember that, right? Anyway, so we're sitting there watching this show, and Thick Boy is getting more and more drunk. And with every joke, Alec would make sure that his laugh went like longer than everybody else's. And we're like, Alex, shut up, right? Shut the hell up. Intermission comes. The security guards come to us. They're like, listen... Everyone's complaining about your brother. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll tell him to stop. And then they said some lady told us that he told her to fuck off. I'm like, he would never have done that, number one. They were just trying to kick us out, right? Some person thought this was their grand scheme. I was right next to him the whole time he didn't do it. Anyway, we walked back in. He continued to do it, everybody. The security guards come up to us again and kick us out. We're escorted by 5 giant security guards, and Alec and Joel, being completely obnoxious and drunk. They're like, I can't believe this. We're getting kicked out for laughing, everybody, and it was horrendous. Okay, so it was great. I'm so glad that we went and saw Jim Owen. We only saw half the show, but it was a very good show. So if you're in that audience last night and you're Australian, that was us, okay? And we're the ones that ruined the show.
I'm really glad I wasn't there. I
half.
would have been so embarrassed.
I was very, very
I've just been doing these ones. It's like...
Just when we thought the Diablo episode was bad for Thick Boy, wait until you see a comedy show with Thick Boy.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing, everybody.
Yeah, it would be.
Okay? Now, is it more focused now?
I don't know. It's not. This is as good as we can get the camera for now. We need to figure it out later. Sorry if it's a bit blurry, but anyway, we can't really fix it for now.
Okay.
We need to focus on the news because there is so much to discuss today.
So much to talk about.
That we need to get through. The purpose of Laymen Live is obviously to talk shit with you guys and also talk about the news of the week that we didn't cover other times because it just wasn't worth it. We were too lazy to cover it. Yeah. Whatever else, Yong beat us to it.
It's the Yong effect.
The Yong one.
Okay?
So
I look at him like, God damn it, Yong! There's no point now.
So these are all the offcuts for the week, and I think we'll start with this whole news about FaZe Clan and Tfue. Have you heard about this, Sam?
Look, I mean, I'm not really across it 100%. I mean, of course I am. I'm 100% across this, everybody.
I know all about this, says Sam.
All I know is some dude, he's a big YouTuber, Twitcher, and
He's a big YouTuber, Twitcher.
He's a Twitcher, everybody. And he signed some sort of contractual agreement with a...
Thanks, FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan, there we go, okay?
There we go. This is Sam's explanation.
Okay, this is my explanation. This is my hungover explanation. And apparently he didn't look at the contract, people, because it looks like they were taking 80% of all his sponsorship deals, right? It's all blown up in this big, huge thing now, and this is where we're at.
I've been surprised by how much it's taken over every discussion on Twitter. Half the people I follow on Twitter have renamed themselves FaZe, FaZe Paul Tassi, like Chris Raygun, FaZe Raygun, you know what I mean? Like all these people are doing this, and I was like, oh, I should do that as well. I didn't do it.
Thank you for the new member. I appreciate you. Love you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much,
dude. But yeah, obviously there's Tfue. He's massive, huge player, and signed to FaZe Clan. Had a contract that seemed to be pretty bullshit. And wanted to get out of it, and sort of blindsided his team all of a sudden, or at least according to FaZe Banks, who's the head of the clan.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I want out of this. And then Banks is like, what the hell, man? This is crazy. He had a huge... Banks, I would say a meltdown on Twitter. But, like, it's not really fair to say meltdown because he was kind of just, like, putting it all out there. If you read his...
I was going to say, do we have the tweets? Do we have
the
them?
tweets, and, like...
Is it Randy Pitchford style?
Oh, it's definitely the Randy territory.
Good, okay.
But, like, at the same time, I could also understand Banks' perspective because he was very much, like, blindsided by this, he said. And he says he's tried to, like, get a good contract deal with FaZe up to this point with, Tfue, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
there's a lot of money on the line here as well.
Sure, but,
this
like...
guy's making bank right now.
One thing that we know from every single person that does this... Social media and emotions don't mix, people. It never does, okay?
Yeah.
Going on there and having some sort of giant meltdown or tantrum or talking about your feelings at all, sometimes it just, it doesn't work.
This one's good. Listen, this does Banks. Listen, you fuck Tfue. I really still do love you to death. I could have prevented this from happening. I would have. I did everything I could. I'm exhausted. I know you must be too. Let's sit down and talk. Please bring whatever you want from our side. I'll come alone. Like, there's this weird thing in all his tweets as well where he kind of oscillates being like, shit. He's like, I'm so tired, man. Fuck you thing. Oh, I love you so much, bro. I fucking hate you, man. Yeah. Like, he's sort of all over the place.
Very strange. And it sounds very gangster-esque, you know, like, you know, you bring your side, I'll come alone. I'll come alone, that's it. It's
terrible. So that's the latest with that drama. We literally... Also, the other thing was Banks said he was going to release the contract. And there was this really cringe video from Tfue where Tfue's like, release the contract, bro. Release it. And it was super weird.
I saw that.
Did you see that? It was so weird.
So weird. Someone made a meme out of it.
Yeah, I saw that. With like
the whiteboard.
Oh, God,
no, I saw someone just holding a whiteboard saying, "Please show emotion," and they just cuts the bag on and release the contract, bro.
It was fantastic. And then Banks is like, "Yeah, man, I'm definitely going to release the contract momentarily." And then Banks is like, "Yeah, we had every intention of releasing the contract. We can't do it now." So that whole thing is really become quite a clusterfuck. So
what else we got? That's the first story. What is the comment section saying?
What is the comment section?
What is the comment section saying?
It's just FaZe. It'll pass.
Yeah.
Call of Duty name.
Where are the live
by the way,
memes?
Call of Duty apparently this just today has been revealed as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the next Call of Duty.
So
they're like
a
doing
remaster?
a soft reboot. No, it's not a remaster. They're doing like a soft reboot of the Modern Warfare franchise, and the next one's just going to be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
They've got ideas, people. I mean,
really do.
you know, that's when you have so many ideas that you just go back to the original name. I mean, maybe it'll work. So maybe the nostalgia will work in their favor. Let's face it. A lot of people have great memories. Thick Boy sat on the couch literally 12 hours every day for 2 years playing Call of Duty when he was younger. It was his ass imprint was like in the couch. If you sat in it, you felt it.
My ass groove.
You know, he had a dedicated chair for him. A lot of people have that same thing. You know, they're 12, 13, 14. That's all they did. It's just like kind of like WoW Classic, everybody. Is that a good segue? Are we at WoW Classic?
You're out of.
You know what? We're out of sync, but we're gonna go to WoW Classic anyway.
All right,
Fuck it.
Fine.
All right, we'll do it live.
Where is
fuck
it? I gotta find it.
Not to mention, Ralph said that I was wrong the other day when I said he says it's fuck it. We'll do it live, but I retain.
No, I feel like it's dependent on where you grab the quote.
It's we'll do it live. Fuck it. That is how it is.
No,
Ralph is wrong. Comment section, please. $100 donation. Let us know Ralph's wrong.
I can't find the WoW Classic link here now. Actually, oh, that sucks.
Unprepared. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about the whole WoW thing. Okay, so everyone knows that the WoW Classic is coming out very soon. A lot of people are excited about it.
August 17th or something.
Something like that. Now look. I think a lot of people have one or two
Ralph's
opinions.
right. Thank you very much.
Ralph is not right.
Ralph is right.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's about because he repeats it. Anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway,
WoW Classic.
WoW Classic. Okay, it's coming out. A lot of a lot of people have one of two different opinions. People are going to get like, this idea of, wow, this is going to be, wow, pun, love it. Wow, this is going to be such an awesome, thing down memory lane. And they jump in the game and they're like, oh, hang on, this actually sucks. And the other camp is like, bro, no, this is going to be incredible. Can't wait for it. It's revolutionizing. You know,
no one's saying it's revolutionary.
No, you know what I mean. Like they think it's going to be like the new Wheels shit. Like they can't wait for it. But I just can't help but feel like maybe after you play Classic WoW for 2 or 3 weeks. You're going to get over it. They've been doing some early kind of testing of it, and players have been reporting bugs that aren't even bugs.
Yeah, they're like...
They're just the original game.
They're like... one of the bugs was like, it's taking a really long time for enemies to respawn. I think they might be bugged. And they're like, no, champ, that's just how we used to play the game, you know?
There's nothing worse than doing quests for, like, trying to find, like, a raw skin hide or some shit. And, like, you got to walk around. This is the thing about Classic WoW for me, right? I jumped on the original Classic WoW, you know, and I played 1 or 2 of the expansions, but I didn't continue all the way. Dude, some of the, like, oh my god, it was so laborious getting to 60. It was so fucking laborious.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it was the best thing ever.
I mean, it was, okay, maybe it would have been a cool adventure when you did it, but going back and doing it again, 250 hours worth? Come on now.
I have, thanks very much, Smooth Wizard.
Smooth Wizard, thank you. To CHF. I don't know what that is, but I appreciate it.
Yes.
It's $2 million Australian.
I have a lot of friends currently playing Classic WoW, and they're all loving it. I'm not speaking to a single person that's playing it, and they're like, this is shit tier, you know? So
I just don't know where that comes from. I think it's purely fueled by nostalgia. That's what it is. Maybe that's...
Look,
that's what they're doing there.
This is where it gets interesting, because obviously I haven't played it myself yet.
We've all played it.
Well, as in, I played back in the day. By the way, Blacklisted Gaming, thanks very much, bro.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Go and check out Blacklisted Gaming, guys. He was here last week as well, I remember.
My man.
So, I haven't played it yet, obviously. Only the old stuff. But, like, I can understand why it has an appeal, because I'm playing WoW right now. And it's so streamlined, and so it really does feel like, in many regards, a single-player game that you're playing with other people. Mm-hmm. When you're raiding in Mythic raiding, like really hard difficulty raiding, it still feels like the old WoW that you remember, but the rest of the experience doesn't, you know? So I really like the idea that Classic has those training wheels taken off. It's about community. It's about everything being much harder and much more tactile. So that part I get... and I understand, but I obviously don't know if I have the time to do it. Like,
look, Ralph plays twice a week, right?
I play twice a week.
7 till 10,
yes.
Wednesdays and Sundays.
That's all my wife allows.
Okay.
Exactly right.
The amount of times...
Literally.
The amount of times I look at my phone, he has it in his calendar, because we share a calendar.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Every single event, I'm like, oh my god, get away from me, all these silly notifications for Ralph.
That's right.
You know, it's like $10,000 from EA. I'm like, god damn it, this goddamn notification. No, but, you know, I don't think people are really going to stick around personally. I really think that people are going to jump on and go, this is great to go down memory lane. I'll probably play... A lot of people will play up to 60 potentially, and maybe do, Ragnarok again and all that kind of stuff. But
Ragnarok. You gotta kill Ragnarok, guys.
But the bottom line is, are people really going to stick around when they've got 15 years now of making this game more streamlined, as you said, like, you know, a better experience, a more smoother experience. I just don't think that's going to happen. And it's going to be the first time I think we've ever seen in gaming where such a monolith of like a game is coming back to its roots and people can experience it. And it's going to be the first time we see if their expectations and the reality of it is really going to be the same. And if it goes well, I think other games might do it too.
Agreed.
On to the next
story, which is actually related. I think this is a good segue for us, actually.
Next story. Because back to this. What does he look like?
Because what happened this week was that the Division 2 raid has released. And I haven't done it yet, right? Because I've been playing... This week I played A Plague's Tale Innocence, which was amazing, by the way. I've got a review up on Chill Up, which I just put up this morning. So go and check it out after the live stream, because you don't want to leave here. Or Alt-Tab. Wait,
Sonic movie delayed to 2020. Okay, thank you.
Was it really?
Yeah, so I wonder why.
Yeah.
Meow. I cannot wait to see this game. Oh, we've got to see Aladdin. Let's do an Aladdin review. Okay, guys, we're going to do Aladdin
review. Stay on focus.
Anyway,
stay focused, Sam.
This is what the Layman Live's all about. We just fucking jump around
Sam
and
just
shit.
reading chat and ignoring what I'm saying at the time,
What's wrong with
right?
reading chat? That's all good.
Okay, so a Coda movie as well, by the way. That is going to be amazing.
There's a Coda movie?
It's being written by D&D from Game of Thrones, though. So
that could be good.
Hopefully
the ending's going to suck.
Exactly. the first part's going to be great.
It's going to be incredible.
Okay, anyway, let's talk about the Division 2 raid. It came out on PC. Haven't played it yet because we're playing other things. It was beaten by a PC clan, like, really fast within the first few hours. And then a whole bunch of PC players were able to beat it. And then... console players took a lot longer, and there was actually like 1 or 2 days where no console clan was able to beat it, and everyone was getting really pissed. And right now, even there's an imbalance where a lot of people are completing the game pretty. I wouldn't say easily, but certainly it's possible to do it, you know, with a fair amount of effort on PC. But it's definitely much harder on console. And the Division 2 community is kind of tearing itself apart because of the fact that, you know, they can't really finish this raid very easily. And they feel like it should be nerfed on consoles, even though it's only been out for an entire week. There was this amazing quote, which I have to show you.
Okay, yeah.
It's so good. It was I actually tweeted it out because it was so good. I don't know if you can actually see it. It says
You
this.
can.
It says, in my mind, this is from the...
You have to read it in the actual voice.
No, I can't. It's just too long. The Division 2 subreddit, this is the second most... On the discussion, this is the second most upvoted tweet, okay, post. It was, in my mind, Raid should be a grand adventure. Tough but fair. Take about 3 hours and packed with lore, story, and loot. I really don't want to stand in a room for 5 hours doing the same thing over and over again. Is that what raiding is about? Shaking my head. We need a new word. I mean,
Okay, he's obviously not played any World of Warcraft, people. Okay,
I haven't played any fucking MMO ever with
Nothing
a raid.
ever.
Like, I just thought that was.
But like,
interesting.
what's the actual thing here? Like, how do they actually fix a imbalance between PC and console difficulty? Like, how do they actually do that?
It's really simple. They just say to the console players, buy a PC. It's simple.
You know
Problem
it's
solved.
coming. I can just tell Ralph's tone was not going to be serious. But I get it. No, is there a way? Is there a way that is Xbox and PC Division play together? Or they're not doing?
No, there's no crossplay.
Okay, I was gonna say if that was there, then that would be a real problem. So if they're not doing that, they can just lower the difficulty. Like whatever.
They can do that. And look, and to be fair, like it is more difficult to play a game like that on console.
100%. Any FPS.
Yeah, correct. So I mean, I do understand where console players are coming from one perspective, but at the same time, the raid's been out for a week. People are just figuring out strats for it. They're gearing up still, etc. So like, give it some time. I think you don't need to sort of nerf it straight away.
I'm just looking at myself like, look at how I look blurry here, but if I go here, I look so much more. Look at that.
That's way better. Just stay out of there, then I'll just be like,
how good is that?
So no raid should take 19 to 40 hours to beat. Something needs to be fixed. Well, the original Blackwing Lair took 77 days to clear. Just to put that in perspective.
Are you Are you talking about 77 days to actually the first raid to beat it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how long does it take once you understood it?
Well, yeah, I mean, after that, it's really a lot faster. But
exactly.
my point is that, like, a raid should be fucking hard, and it should take a long time.
I think what they're saying there is, like, are they saying that the raid itself, to grind slowly to the end, is taking 19 hours?
You can actually... There's a console group that has beaten the Division 2 raid now in 30 minutes. So it doesn't take 40 hours to do the raid. It's like, maybe it takes 40 hours to beat it the first time. But, like, again, that's a very different... It really shows... And this is why I think WoW Classic is going to be so fascinating. Because the tastes of audiences have moved on so far since back in the day, right? And a lot of them are going to crash into that old design philosophy. And I just don't know if it's going to be compatible with newer audiences. You know?
I agree with that.
Or if it's like a kind of Dark Souls effect, where people are like, holy shit, this is so hard, it takes so long, I love this. You know what I mean?
Dark Souls is a different thing.
Everything is like Dark Souls.
I mean, yeah, of course. But, like, I think that, and back to the comment section, someone said earlier that RuneScape Classic or something. Is there a RuneScape Classic?
There is RuneScape.
Yeah,
which has been super popular.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you very much for that comment and the donation. I appreciate that. And they were saying that it is very much a success. So based on that success, maybe WoW will also have a similar success. Now, maybe, I don't know. I don't know, though, if people are going to have the same effect with World of Warcraft. Because I think there's one of two things. People don't play it anymore, so they've moved on to different games. There's so many different experiences they've had. So many different, like, looter shooter MMO like styles of games now that have, like, taken that thing for them. That's what they like now. They go back to WoW Classic, the kind of old school shit. Some people will be like, fuck this is just way too grindy, I'm over this, I don't want to go back. So we won't spend too much time on WoW. All I'm saying is I think it'll be not a success personally. Okay,
we'll see. We will see.
We will see. What is the next story?
The next story. Okay, this one is some CD Projekt Red news. All hail Geraldo. God bless him.
Yeah.
So apparently we're going to hear the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 at E3 2017, which is a surprise to absolutely no one, really.
Yeah.
Just like we kind of knew that was happening.
Totally. You were saying off camera that you thought that there'd be some... Oh, this is like another... Is this another story?
It's a separate story, but connected. We're going to
Whatever, you know what?
To
this is great. We're just... Oh, so smooth. They're not also going to have any playable demos there.
Yes.
I did not expect them to have any playable demos.
I was very much expecting to be playing Cyberpunk 2077 in like 2 weeks' time at E3. And so I'm actually really surprised that Cyberpunk is not playable.
Didn't you put up a tweet saying, I can't wait to play Cyberpunk?
Yes. And
Loser!
And steal a dev kit. So, Cyberpunk, the Twitter account, the official Twitter account, responded to that. So I was happy with that.
Oh, Ralph's very happy. They responded to Skillo. He's very chuffed, everybody.
Noticed me, you know?
But I really don't think... Yeah, look, I think that they are the game, apart from Death Stranding, that everybody is waiting for. There is no other game right now that people are looking at and going, boom, this is going to be incredible.
Anthem 2, man.
Anthem 2. What are we talking
short.
about? Sorry. I can't wait if there's an Anthem 2.
Oh, God, I couldn't even imagine.
That would be so good. That'd be the best memes ever.
That'd be good.
But look, I think that, not having a playable thing does suck, but I never thought they would be. I really do think maybe what's the German game show again? What's that one called?
Gamescom.
Maybe Gamescom. Maybe then, because it's kind of closer to their territory, and then they might be we've got something to show you.
One theory was that they're not doing a playable... Because when you make a playable slice for E3, it takes a lot of work, right? Because
it has to be curated and
you're deep in development, and you have to take a portion of the game, and you have to make it perfect. And it has to be pretty chunky with a game like this. You can't just give people like a 5-minute slice. You've got to give them like
half an hour.
Half an hour, 45 minutes. So one theory was that they're not making it playable at E3, so they don't waste the development time, and they can just thunder through, and they can hopefully get it out, and hopefully 2019
maybe,
release.
or they're like, look, we like the hype right now. Like they are the mother, like they're the mother load of E3 right now. Everyone's
that's the big one.
It is the big one. So for them to do anything that they wouldn't be 100% confident with, maybe they're still just kind of making sure that everything is exactly what they want before they show any actual hands-on gameplay. But there will be some gameplay. We are going to a Cyberpunk special thing.
Yes.
And when is that?
Way to reveal that, Sam. Thanks very
much.
Oh,
was that secret? Well, that's what happens on Laymen Live, okay? I feel like Tom Holland right now.
Meant to reveal that.
I feel like Tom Holland. Well, that's not correct, everybody. I mean, we're going to Cyberpunk 2069, okay? So, we are...
CD Projekt Red is watching. I'm sorry. Okay. Not meant to happen. Okay.
I feel like Tom Holland right now. But I didn't know. I thought we were just... You know what? Spoilers alert. This is why people tune in. Funnily enough, people, we will not be uploading this to YouTube.
we can edit this out, right?
We can edit this out. But I thought that was common knowledge.
No, it's not common knowledge.
I know that. Just testing you guys. Everyone's going to be tuning in every week now for new and improved spoilers.
What else will Sam spoil?
What else will I spoil?
What other relationship will Sam destroy?
Shit. I wonder if we'll be invited now.
We'll get there and they'll be like, sorry, we watched the Laymen stream.
Ralph can come in. Sam, you can wait outside.
Okay, let's keep moving then. Halo is coming out in 2020, or at least that's the rumor. That's another release date that we heard about this week.
Sure, let's just move on.
It's just Halo. I actually was hoping that we would be playing Halo at Xbox. Sorry, at E3 this year.
I don't know if we will.
I feel like if it's 2020 next year, I'm feeling like maybe not. That's my guess. I feel like it would be playable at Gamescom.
Look, I think it might be an early release because we've known now about this now.
Holiday 2020. This is rumored.
Holiday 2020. Yeah, sorry. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, make Halo great again, people. 2020. I'm looking forward to it because, let's face it, Halo 5 absolutely sucked. Okay? Wasn't a fan of Halo 5. Me and Ralph played it together and we laughed the whole way through. We literally did.
So bad.
The stories, the environment design, like it just felt like it was just not good. Okay? It was just not good. So, this one, I don't know exactly what this is going to be, but I still feel like this is going to be the next Destiny. I feel like this is what they want to do. They got strong IP for it. Like they could totally do that. But by the time it comes out, I feel like people are already getting to the stage where they're probably getting a little bit kind of, not over MMO shooter, but I don't know. There's so many out there now.
I really feel like the looter shooter genre... Yeah, especially when Borderlands comes out, I really feel like you're not going to see many more after that. Like,
I think that it's going to be the end of it. It's getting to the end of the life cycle. We need something new. That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be just.
I don't think Halo's ever going to become a looter shooter. Like Halo is Halo. It's a.
Oh, I think it can definitely become one, man. Different types of weapons, armor, customizing your armor, exploring the Halo ring in different worlds. There's a lot of lore there. There's a lot of instances they can make with giant hunters and shit. Like so many things they can do. I think if I can think of any other IP that become a looter shooter in kind of gaming world, it's already so ripe for it.
I really just disagree with everything you just said.
How? How do you disagree with that?
Halo is entirely about a very precisely calibrated and finely tuned experience. And the minute you introduce different loot into that, then you change the entire makeup of the game.
I don't think it's like, oh my god, you introduce loot. I can't deal with this. I think it's going to be a situation. I think it's going to be a situation
if your battle rifle does 3 less damage than another battle rifle, and the entire game, the entire level that you're doing is tuned so that like, you know, an elite takes 6 shots, but 6 bursts as opposed to 8.
That's MMOs, man. It doesn't matter
what
IP...
That's not what Halo is.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what IP is attached to it. That always is going to be problems.
Can you just look at all the no Sam in the thing and just agree that you're wrong?
Okay, let me see.
Everyone is saying...
No, Sam. No. Halo Looter. Please, Halo Looter, please.
Okay, you got one. Sam, shut up. There's like one person agreeing with you and everyone else roasting the fuck out of you.
How is that? How am I so wrong on this? Like, I feel like it's the best Halo, type of IP for it.
But Halo is
with a good single player story, kind of. You could still do it.
Sam, big no Sam.
You know what, guys?
Bad for Ralph, no Sam.
Yes, Sam. Yes, okay. We're getting some Sams. We're getting some Sams. Okay.
Okay, right. So the Halo looter shooter idea, guys, I completely disavow that. That's all Sam. All right, you just leave that with him, and that's that. Okay, let's move on to the next story. League of Legends. Now, League of Legends has been in hot water over the last little ride, I should say. Because apparently it's a bit of a bro dude culture there, right? Where certain people...
Laymen is not like that, by the way.
Laymen is absolutely not. A very
mature not a bro
channel.
Dude culture.
Let's do that cacti joke again, you know? Put it down.
What do you mean?
So apparently Riot has had a very bro dude culture, which is pretty typical for a lot of tech startups, right? Where you have like young college dudes and they're hanging out and they're like working in an office doing whatever, and then they make billions of dollars and they're like, hey, we're king shit now. And they were doing things like fighting on each other and teabagging each other.
No one ever does that.
No, absolutely not.
It's disgusting, everybody.
So it was often described to be more like a dorm room than it was an actual workplace.
But let's face it, if
that's going to trigger the mic every time.
Oh, sorry. If look, it's one thing like to do dorm room behavior with other dudes, but if there's girls there, I mean, of course, you've got to have a certain standard. You do.
I think the argument is really that you should have a higher standard in a professional work environment, regardless of the gender.
No. I think that if 2 guys are having a chat, of course they can like talk a certain, like, you know, they can.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Let's be real. This whole PC culture. Like, let's be real for a second. 2 guys having a conversation is gonna be very different. If a girl's involved, you gotta have like a bit more, like a respectful thing. It's different.
This clip's definitely gonna get used against us.
Oh, whatever. But it's true.
When the Polygon hit piece finally comes,
I know. Sexist Sam and racist Ralph.
So what happened was that Riot staff basically they went on strike recently, which is actually the first industrial action in video games for I think ever, really. Like it was pretty groundbreaking, and about 150 staff walked off the job.
I think it was 100.
About 100, 150, whatever. Because
there
was a big expose about all this sexist behavior, and basically nothing has happened at Riot since then. One of the major people who was named as one of the most like sexist, toxic dudes, he's like back at work now and everything. So a lot of the staff are pissed off. They wanted what's called to get rid of what's called forced arbitration, which basically stops them from being able to make their grievances public and like publicly sue, and forces them to go behind closed doors and sort things out with a judge, essentially. So
I'm glad that you explained that because I knew what it meant, but I didn't want to be the only one in this room.
So that's been the major point of contention about why Riot staff have like gone on strike, and TLDR, Riot are not backing down. They're like, we are keeping forced arbitration for people who have already worked at Riot, and anyone new that joins, their contract will not require forced arbitration. Yeah. But anything that happened in the past, we want to kind of like sweep that under the rug, so we want to keep forced arbitration in.
Yeah, I think that, it's a tricky thing, because like as a business, like I can understand why they would try and put that. I'm not saying that it's right to do it, but I get why they would be like, look, if you've got a problem, we want to make sure you get justice, but we just want it to be kind of, not in the public eye, right? I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think that there is far too many problems that arises from that to actually have that in place, because sometimes a company's fear of knowing that the public will know is exactly what they need to make sure that they're doing the right thing by their customers and also by their employees.
At the same time, you make your bed, you got to lie in it. Like Riot obviously had, if you were literally fighting on people in the workplace, then there's probably some problems there. You know, there's probably some stuff to be talked about.
Yeah.
And it feels like if those people want justice for that, then they're entitled to it. So
totally. But like, I think that's
it's complicated. There's no clear answer.
It is complicated, but again, like I think I think that it's hard to. The whole new thing for I just don't understand why they would be like, oh, anyone that's new doesn't have to have this clause, but the previous people still have to have it. Now that screams to me. Yeah. That screams to me that like, look, we've got some bad shit that we don't want people knowing about, but going forward, we're going to be nice now. Again, that's the tricky stuff I'm talking about. Like,
Agreed.
They want to like hide that stuff or whatever. So anyway,
the brick
next
wall.
story.
By the way, we know the brick wall is weird right now. We have some background stuff coming this week, right? So stay tuned for that. There's going to be cool things happening. I won't spoil it because it's actually pretty cool.
I mean, no one else has spoiled anything in
exactly.
this live thing, so
Exactly.
whatever.
So next story, the loot box ban bill is actually moving forward.
We've covered this.
We covered this earlier, where this US senator was basically like, hey, by the way, loot boxes, they kind of suck. Why don't we ban them to kids, right? So it's not about adults.
Yeah, originally
it's to games marketed towards kids.
Yeah, originally we saw this from Chris Lee. Chris Lee was the first one that really looked
From Hawaii.
from Hawaii, and he was the first one that
friend of the show.
Yeah,
Friend of the
we've
show.
had him on the show before. Now he was the first one that showed that politicians do care and they want to make sure that they can do some good stuff, right? This guy looks like he's kind of grabbed the baton and continued, and that's all I got to say.
Nice. Thanks very much for that update, Sam. The actual news is that it's achieved what's called bipartisan support, which means both Republicans and Democrats are a fan of it. Mm-hmm. It's in committee at the moment, but just because it's in committee doesn't mean it's anything. Basically, they've got both sides of the committee now agreeing, the Democrats and Republicans, that this is the thing that should progress. So that is a big deal, because obviously Democrats and Republicans don't agree on much these days.
Yeah, but yeah.
So,
but
so the fact that they can come together on almost nothing except the idea that loot boxes are bad is probably a pretty clear sign of just how bad
at least
they
they're
are.
coming together saying the children gambling is bad.
Right.
That's good. That's at least good. But look, in the article itself, it does go into saying that games that are kind of directed for children are going to be kind of under this new law. That's hard to really know, because a lot of adults will also, and a lot of children will also play adult games. Like, it's really hard to know which one will fall under no gambling and which ones will fall into gambling. You know what I mean?
do agree with that. I do agree.
I'm just trying to give an example.
But it's possible. For example, I know this is just a weird example, but get this right. In Japan, there are these gacha games. Okay,
gotcha.
Gotcha,
bitch.
They're like all collecting little things, and you got to collect sets, like little toys or whatever. And those little those. If you've been to Japan, you've seen those vending machines where they just sell those little capsules, and they have little toys inside them. That's gacha.
Okay. Yeah.
Those, right?
Yeah.
So there are laws regulating that in Japan that basically stop you from creating very elaborate sets of these things, because the Japanese government realized that people were so into this stuff and they were spending so much money that they needed to regulate.
It was a form of loot box.
It was a prototype of the loot box, absolutely. And they regulated it to stop basically companies from making these really elaborate sets or collections that mean that people would have to spend stupid amounts of money to collect them all, right? So you've essentially had like Japan regulating the toy market because they recognized this issue, and that was a long time ago that they put that legislation in. So I feel like there are templates for how this sort of thing could and should work, but obviously it's much more difficult when we talk about video games, because it's global markets, global laws, all sorts of stuff.
Global laws, I was going to say, it's going to be, so I mean, with Belgium, for instance, like we've seen certain games that have to be taken out, but they're still operating in other areas. I mean, is this going to be the situation? Are they going to, in the US, have certain games that have a certain type of kind of monetization structure, and the rest of the world has a different one entirely? But I feel like the US market is one of their biggest markets. Like, it's really going to have a huge effect.
Yeah, if it happens in the US, it happens globally. No question about that. Because game developers will have to make their games for the US market rather than...
No, but you can make two types of monetization
but
structures.
At that point, the development time and the regulatory work, all that sort of stuff, like, I don't know. Either way, look, I'm happy, as I said before, make video games great again, yes. Look, I'm happy to go forward with this part of the journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, I definitely recognize there are some risks whenever government gets involved in regulating anything, especially video games, because they have no fucking clue what a video game is. But at the same time, it's like something needs to happen with loot boxes, man, because they're fucked. I think that something needs to happen.
I agree with you. I think it has to get to a certain point where, look, if it can be resolved internally in terms of the industry itself, that's great. But yeah, it will get to certain points where government needs to step in and go, look, you guys can still do whatever you want, but here's some rough guidelines to make sure that you are being, in fact, ethical and moral and legal, and that's what I think a lot of people will end up agreeing on. Like, a lot of people don't like the idea of any government being involved, and I get it.
Taxation is theft.
But I think that a lot of people end up saying, well, if they put some really rough guidelines that just kind of give us some sort of direction, then I think that would be better, personally.
Cool, thanks, Sam.
Another great finish for that topic.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Actually, related story, and this is the thing, right? I think we often think...
I was so excited for this.
Nintendo, we always think Nintendo is the good guy, right? Not always.
Maybe not, people.
Not always.
Maybe not.
The Mario Kart mobile game is now out in a closed beta. No one's allowed to share screenshots or image video, but they can describe the experience. And everyone that's played it has said that unfortunately this is a pay-to-win mobile game, right? Yep. And there are some quotes here that I thought were really interesting. I'll read this one here, and this just describes it, okay? There's no question about it. Mario Kart Tour is indeed a gacha game through and through. There are 2 types of currencies included in the beta. And of course, one of them is used for purchasing loot boxes as well as stamina. Stamina needs more of that. This includes the included stamina system will indeed limit how much you can race in one sitting. That is, unless you own enough of the secondary currency to users' payment to continue. Oh, and those loot boxes I mentioned, well, they're multi-layered, which means carts, drivers, and gliders are all randomly unlocked through the gacha system. And if all that wasn't bad enough, there are rare drivers available that give players advantage when racing, which means the game is pay to win. Funny how the forbidden screenshots and videos make a lot more sense in light of these details. So
look, I think it's really...
so shit tier Nintendo.
It really is, because let's face it, it's one of the strongest IPs not only Nintendo has, but in the gaming industry in general. If they brought that out and said, "Hey, look, $9.99, buy the game," or even $20,
but the thing is,
even $19.99,
and this is the thing, they did that. They did that with Mario Run. They've done that in the past.
Yeah.
And it didn't make enough money, and that's the thing. And they were very public with
but
their
Mario
shareholders.
Run's different because it's such
a... Well, sort of, not really.
Well, actually, this new one's just going to have one finger on it or something. You're going to move it around one finger. But this is going to be
Christian channels.
This is not going to be the same type of Mario Kart that we know. Yeah,
but my point is that they were very public with shareholders. They're like, that game did not perform to expectations. We are disappointed. We will revise our strategy. It's Nintendo's a publicly listed company, so they kind of like have to make as much money as possible. And when you see the mobile market and you see how much money is being made there, and you see IP like Nintendo, and you know how ripe it is for monetization because people will pay, then Nintendo obviously are like almost forced by capitalism to do this shitty stuff. But it's really sad because
I disagree with that. Dude.
I agree with you. I know the counter argument to that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, no. I just think I do understand what you're saying. Like they feel like there is a pressure there to make sure that game performs in the best monetary way possible. Fine. But they know also that they've built a really good brand off the back of just delivering really solid, fully packaged games, like I don't know, packaged games, everybody, and like for instance, I mean, Super Smash Bros. Or the Mario Kart on
Mario, but yeah, sure, but mobile games are completely different beasts.
What I'm saying is there could easily have been a way in which they monetize it with don't put pay to win mechanics.
I think you could have done monetization that isn't gacha, that isn't pay to win, that isn't like stamina based, so you need to pay to race. It could have been all that sort of stuff.
Because
I agree.
Fortnite makes more than enough money with not allowing people to like buy pay to win. Yeah. It's all very much skin based and like item based. And like imagine Mario, you can buy for $3. He wears the Link costume. Dude, I'd pay that. Like, fuck it, whatever. Like, people would do that. It's a way of, like, making sure people are getting value for the money that they're putting down. This whole loot box system, time and time again, we've shown that there is no actual value because you don't know what you're getting. And any company that actually comes and does that actually gives you value for the money that you're putting down in some sort of, skin system, everyone loves them for it. It's never a problem.
I agree with that. This actually relates to our next story, which is if you needed further proof that Nintendo aren't always the good guy,
I feel like we're not going to get invited now to anything they're doing at E3. Well, they don't do anything at E3.
No, they do. They have a booth, but they do like a live show, whatever.
Okay, sure.
Nintendo are actually pulling 2 mobile games from the Belgian market. They're actually pulling Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem, the mobile games, because of the fact that Belgium has banned loot boxes. We're in the process of banning them, and Nintendo just feels like, from a regulatory perspective, there's too much risk to be in that market. Sure. So rather than try and fix those games so they are playable in that market, they just decided to pull them. Now, that makes sense if you're just talking about one country. And it's only Belgium, which is a small country.
Yeah, because it sets a precedent.
Despite how good its chocolate is, it's just one country.
I think that they're probably worried it'll set a precedent. Like, oh, well, you changed it, you made it, you made the monetization structure in Belgium much better for them. Why aren't you doing now in Australia and US? Yeah. America, Australia. But I think...
What's that from again?
Simpsons.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Australian episode, sure.
I just think that, I think that they're probably worried most of all because they think that they might set a precedent. Like other countries, like, hang on, you're changing that for them. Fucking change it for us too. That kind of thing,
I agree, and it's just disappointing that Nintendo seems to be going down this route. Like, you were the chosen one. Next, we'll see CD Projekt Red.
God of War monetized.
Yeah, God of War gacha games. Yeah, you need to have a stamina meter. Every time you throw the Leviathan axe, it depletes it. You need to buy premium currencies to call it back. So that'll be a very sad day.
It'd be pretty cool.
Corey, if you're watching, don't let that happen,
Corey, we
man.
love you, man. But, I want to see a Link costume. $10.99, I'll buy that. Link costume, and Kratos is wearing it. But anyway.
Yeah, agreed. So, next story. We've done that one. Let's talk about Apex Legends. Wait, continue without supporting you. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Do you want to disable ad blocker on the thing? No, I don't. Thank you for asking, though.
By the way, guys, thank you for all
thanks for the donations. Thanks for watching the...
I don't know what 200 knock is, but
I don't know
that's
what it
great.
is.
Thank you very much.
Yes, knock.
Knock. Where is knock from?
Is it Norwegian? I think it's Norway, right? I think it's Norway.
Sure.
Anyway, so I think it's Krons?
No, Kron is different.
No, I think it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank you very much,
is it Norwegian Kron? Is that what it's saying?
That's what it is, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah, Norway, see?
Is it Norway? Cool.
So,
North Korea.
North Korean currency would be pretty
great.
good.
Okay, so Apex Legends, everyone.
Apex Legends revenue dropped drastically for a second month in a row.
It came out in Feb. It was a gigantic, what the hell is this game? It's completely taken the gaming world by storm. Everyone jumped on it, really. And I really thought it was going to be the game that was going to finally take down Fortnite. PUBG is
I don't think it would take it down. I just think it would give a good run for its money.
I think it was going to be this the first place now, the one that everyone plays, and Fortnite is still very relevant, but not as relevant. That's what I was expecting. We played it. We were blown away by it. We thought, what a cool way to kind of keep a very the original concept intact, but add a lot of cool things like the pinning system and whatever. It was such a good way of reinventing that genre, kind of, but it hasn't stuck around.
The headline here is that Apex Legends generated 24 million in April, which seems like a large amount to some people. This is, however, only a quarter of what Apex made in its launch month. Although the game's numbers in February were unsustainable, the sudden and drastic drop in revenue shows that Apex could not keep up with the immense hype. So
I think that comes down to one thing. Fortnite's ability to pump out content is just
crazy.
Unforeseen.
It really is crazy.
I've never seen it before. All the time, John Wick, Avengers fucking things. Yeah. All the time. There's just shit dropping all the time, right? And I think Apex Legends, maybe they didn't have the team or the budget because they might have not known how big this thing was. Do you know what I mean? Like, they might have dropped this on the market and had a certain team and it became so big. They just didn't have the content ready and... the people are working on it.
It's definitely suffered from a lack of updates in the last little while.
Yeah.
And the season pass they put out as well was really lackluster. And people were really looking forward to that and whatever else. But turns out most of the stuff that was in it wasn't particularly exciting and it was a huge grind or whatever else. So it was new territory for EA to be operating in this space. They weren't ready for it and they just haven't followed up. Which is sad because it's still my favorite battle royale game by a country mile.
Totally.
In fact, funnily enough, we're actually playing it not next week but the following on stream as part of a sponsored stream that we're doing. It's a Papa's Pizza stream, guys.
When is that again?
It's like 2 weeks from now.
No, we go to E3 in 2 weeks. Can't be that.
No, we go to E3 in 3 weeks.
No, 2 weeks.
No, it's not. It's 3 weeks.
Bro, anyway, look at the thing. We go in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we do go in 2 weeks. Okay, so then it's like basically less than 2 weeks we'll be playing it, and it's
probably
like,
tonight.
It's for the pizza. The pizza's called like Rise Up. It's like the Rise Crust or something.
Really?
So it's like Gamers Rise Up by our pizza. It's finally
sick.
There you go.
I wonder how PG we have to be on that thing. I feel like something's rising.
PG, so.
Oh, something's rising.
Okay, let's keep moving. Otherwise, lose all our sponsors and our relationship with CD Projekt Red. That's it. Okay, here's a feel good story for the Laymen faithful. Okay,
yeah.
Turns out that Anthem, no one's playing it. You know,
I mean, look,
surprised,
very surprised,
very stunned. We have never covered Anthem before, actually.
We thought it'd be our first
territory.
time.
We thought we'd give it a go on this live stream just to test out what it's like. what kind of feedback we get from you guys talking about Anthem. Just in case you hadn't heard of it, Anthem, very successful, very popular looter shooter.
Yep.
Released by BioWare, a developer that's really hit their stride lately.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the last couple of games have really... It's nailing it, guys.
Totally. I mean, in the past, they put out some garbage.
Like KOTOR or some shit.
But right now, they're really on that upper trajectory and just nailing it.
Yeah.
So, it turns out that we now know how many people are playing it on at least Xbox. But basically, you can look at the numbers here because Battlefield 1, it's possible to see how many people are playing Battlefield 1 because they publish those stats sort of externally on Battlefield tracking sites.
Sure.
And there were 2,500 players playing Battlefield 1 on Xbox. That was number 49 out of Xbox's top 50 games.
Wow.
Anthem just dropped out of the top 50 games, which means that there are less than 2,500 people playing Anthem right now on Xbox. It's logical to assume that number would be similar on PlayStation.
It's logical to assume it would probably be 3 or 4 people.
But we don't know about how many people playing on PC either. So,
is there any way to actually get those PC figures?
No, there's not. They're completely locked down.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. Any Anthem believers, come on now.
Let's be real.
We've covered this multiple times.
That's right. I'd like you to go to my video and apologize.
It's not coming back.
All the hate comments that people put up in my video, if you left for that, I'd like you to go there and write an apology comment and just say, skill up. You were right.
Yeah, it's like Fallout 76, Same
as that. I'd also like an apology for that as well.
I'm waiting for that comeback. It's going to happen.
Look, the thing is, we actually don't know what's going wrong with Anthem right now because they had promised to do announcements this month about the next content update, which was delayed because we were meant to
indefinitely, really. They didn't say when.
We were meant to have new content dropping this month. And instead they said we would be announcing the new content this month. That announcement still hasn't happened. And we've got, 5 days left in the month? So that sucks. And they've gone completely radio silent. I'm betting, personally, that they have pulled a lot of money out of this, taken staff out of this, and said, guys, we need to cut our losses. This is proper fucked. Let's move on. And
I agree, and I think that 76 is the same thing. They're just getting out. Because, let's face it, there is no point, business-wise, there is no point of backing a game now that people aren't playing. There are some games that do it and have successfully come back because they had good bones, right? Like Siege, okay? Perfect example. A bit buggy at launch. Everyone was really
buggy.
Well, you know what I mean. It came back and it became one of the biggest, strongest esports games right now. Really, it has a really strong community. A lot of people play. A lot of people love it. And it has a really bright future ahead. I don't look at Anthem or 76 and go, it's not coming back. It's just there's no way in hell because the bottom line is if you pick it apart, there's nothing there. It's so shiny. Fallout 76 was not shiny, okay? Anthem was very shiny. It looks beautiful. You're like, wow, cool. And then really there's nothing to actually do in it. It's so barren.
It is very sad.
So I really think they just move on. What's their next title? Dragon Age?
Dragon Age.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Age. So we'll see. I didn't really like Dragon Age Inquisition. It was pretty good, but I didn't love it. And
I wonder if it's going to be just Dragon Age, but it's going to have javelins and shit, that are just going to try and reinvent it.
It'll be like a Laymen meme where they just take the image and then put something else's face over it, basically. We were inspired by Laymen Gaming. We watch all their videos.
We never do that. What are you talking about?
Okay, the next story is actually pretty cool. So, actually, we haven't read chat in a while. Can Anthem be saved by going free to play? I don't think so, because basically, you can just get it for $5 on Origin,
the Humble Bumble, are they doing a special now? They always do something.
Yeah, look, it's basically free. If anyone wants to play Anthem, it's basically free. I don't think free to play is going to save that game.
Look, I don't think it will because it's not like there's heaps of people waiting on the sidelines going, I would like to play it.
And the other thing as well, and I'll say this about this, but free to play requires a monetization model that works. To be able to do that, you need things to sell. And one of the biggest, weirdest things about Anthem is that there's no cosmetics that you want to buy. There's nothing there.
There was 8 or 9 items in total. There was virtually...
Across all the classes. Yeah, so every class had one extra gear set at launch kind of thing. So in order for them to be able to make it a free-to-play game, they need to design all this armor and skins and all that sort of shit that just isn't there now. So if I was EA, I would look at this and I would say, I don't think it's worth the investment to develop all that shit. You know what I mean? But
Totally.
So let's talk about GOG Galaxy 2. GOG are trying to clean up the mess that Epic Games have helped create. Is it?
I don't know if people see the blue around it. Oh, they don't see that.
So basically, you know how you have all your games across 12 different launchers right now?
Yeah.
Especially the filthy Epic launcher, Epic Games bad.
How dare they?
So GOG are you know what? GOG, by the way, owned by CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red, good.
Yeah. GOG good.
Epic Games bad.
GOG
right?
good because City Project Red good.
Correct. So they had decided
I'm trying to get back in their good favours now.
Exactly. They've decided they're going to be launching their new launcher, which is actually... Oh, hang on. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Which is actually a launcher that brings together all of your games onto one platform, including console games, apparently. I'm not even sure how that's going to work.
I don't know how that works.
But yeah, so basically every game you own across all your launchers is going to appear here. You're going to be able to see all of your achievements here, track play times. You know, like you're even going to be able to chat to friends across it. But I don't know how that works. That must be if they have GOG as installed as well. You can't chat to PSN people from the GOG client.
Look,
if you can, that's fucking ridiculous.
Maybe they have an arrangement with PSN. Maybe they have an arrangement with Steam. I don't know. You know, like I agree. Like it looks like you need to have a different
cross-platform chat.
There we go.
No matter on which platform your friends are, you can chat with them. So I can't see how this is going to work.
I think it's probably them just saying, look, we want to make an arrangement that people can talk because it adds more, and it adds a better experience to PlayStation because they're like, cool, you'll give us more people to talk with. Who gives a shit?
I love how this is a key part of their marketing as well. Like usually you would make a big deal about privacy, but because the Epic Games Store, everyone's like, it's Chinese spyware.
That's so true.
So what they've done is they put up in big lights. They're like, no spying, no data sharing.
On your computer.
Your data belongs to you. Epic Games bad. Like, they might have had it. They should have had a fourth point there. Just Epic Games bad. You know. So like, it's very smart marketing for them, really tackling what is a very key concern that people have. It has been debunked. The Epic Games Store is not Chinese spyware, but certainly that talking point is out. And
well, you know what? I'm happy just to continue to say that because it gets views, so whatever.
Exactly right. So that's that. The next story actually, which we can go straight into, is did you ever hear the Ouya console?
How do you even say the Ouya?
Ouya!
Ouya!
Ouya! It's
Ouya.
Do you guys? So you remember that console that was like an Android console that was a Kickstarter back in the day, and it was like it's shutting down now. It's been dead since like the month it launched, and that was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And just now it's dead.
I don't think I've seen a single headline on this thing. Have we seen a single headline ever?
No, we haven't. It's been dead officially for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But now they're like ending service. So if you were the one person out there still using your Ouya console,
then we're sorry to let you know that there's going to be no other services now. But what games are on there anyway? Like seriously.
Angry Birds?
WoW Classic. It just never got updated.
WoW Classic would be actually pretty damn cool. That would actually be pretty good. So this is a funny story that came at us this week as well, which got a bit of courage. Basically, on the topic of Epic Games bad, it turns out if you buy too many games on the Epic Store, they will freeze your account.
Yeah.
This is how garbage
I just don't... well, look, it's just probably a stupid bug, but like, yeah, it's just funny. Like, it's so dumb.
The reason it's this is actually quite good. One launcher to rule them all. To find them. One launcher to bring them all in. I like that. Very nice. I read it. Thank you very much. Good quote, dude. Basically, the Epic has responded to this, and because the story is someone bought like 5 games, and then after that, their account got frozen. What
was the official reason, by the way?
Well, Epic responded and said that it was because of their aggressive anti-fraud measures or whatever. So this guy had bought 5 games on the truck. Because by the way, there's no shopping basket in the Epic Games Store, so you actually need to buy 5 games separately. You can't buy them all at once.
I see.
And then when that happened, it actually froze his account, and so he
that makes sense then, because let's face it, if some dude gets your credit card, he's like, I want to buy fucking as many games as possible. Like, I kind of get
5 games? Then. And what, spending like $40 probably?
I mean, sure. I'm saying it probably could be like a 15 game limit or something. Like 5's a bit much, but like something around that, 10 to 15 games, because who's buying 10 or 15 games in the span of 30 minutes or some shit?
Epic Games,
not a lot of people doing that.
It's like they can't catch a break, man.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened this week with Epic was that Epic's one guy, and this is another thing that got like all the upvotes. One guy requested all his personal data from Epic. He's like, Epic Games, give me all of the data that you have on me. Give it to me, okay? And then Epic's like, no problem. Send, and they send it to some random person, right? So this random person gets an email all of a sudden with all this guy's personal data, with like credit card information, transaction history, address, everything, and then that was it. So Epic haven't responded to that one, but that was like they cannot catch a break every game.
I was expecting a better story out of that, people.
I mean, it's pretty funny.
It was funny, but there was no crescendo there. Okay, so Ralph sucks, everyone.
Nice.
Ralph sucks,
nice.
Everyone.
Good.
We've got about 8 minutes left, people, of our show. What are we doing?
We've got one last story here, actually, about And we've never had a video on the Epic Game on the Laymen live show. This is our first time we're.
Are we going to do the video?
Yeah, it's only a quick video.
I don't think people can.
Yeah, people can
hear
see it. I'm sure. All right, let's try. You can't hear it, but you don't really need to. Okay. So what you're seeing here is the PlayStation 5, the first leaked footage that we saw of PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's a side-by-side comparison of Spider-Man playing on PS4 versus PS5, and the impact that their new super duper special SSD, super duper, is going to have on their game. So we're gonna play it, and then can I enlarge it? I wonder if it actually still.
Can he enlarge it?
Let's just keep it small.
Let's keep it small, everyone.
All right, we don't want to overwhelm you. Okay. So this is it, and you can see it here. It's a bit small, I know, but I'm not sure if I have max green it if it'll work.
Yeah, next generation.
But you can see left and right compared to each other. You can see the PS5 just like pointing up like all the areas.
0.83.
Yep.
And this one took 8 seconds.
And to load one area, right? So
when I watched this originally, I was just half asleep, and I was like, the new generation took 8 seconds, and the PS4 Pro took 0.83. Why are they showing this?
The footage that they're showing here as well is that is how quickly you can move through this space.
How fast things will render.
Correct. So basically, one of the big limitations of hard drives is that you kind of need to load the level from the hard drive while you're moving through it. And when you start moving too fast, it slows down, like what you saw just a minute ago. But now with this hard drive...
Division
did the same thing. So now you can just fucking fly through it like crazy. That's a real game changer. Like,
because a lot of games can do like Neo, Neo flying, or Superman or some shit. Like a Superman game, you can fly really fast. But the thing is, right, I've said this before, does this really show the power of this? Because those games...
That's huge.
No, I'll tell you, because when the games come out now... When the games come out for the next gen, they're going to be infinitely more powerful, right? Is it going to be a situation where these new games come out on console and they're just like so much stronger that the load time is not 0.83, but maybe it's like 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 seconds?
We're seeing many comments about Anthem load times. That's the real comparison.
And
it'll go from 30 seconds to 28 seconds. It's nice.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I really wonder if it's going to be a situation where these new, more powerful games come out and like the load time is not 0.83. It's going to be like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Pretty simple. Like, and at the end of the life cycle, it'll end up being similar to the load times that we're seeing now.
Maybe.
I think that's very possible.
It is possible, but at the same time, it's like,
it's like showing, because it's showing
that's like saying, internet, maybe it'll still be really slow versus when we had 56K.
No,
like
it's very similar to saying. The thing is, it's like loading. It's like loading a PlayStation 1 game on the PS4, that kind of thing. Like, how fast would it load? Probably very fast. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. So this is a great marketing strategy, but really, what's it going to do? But speaking of marketing strategies, what are you guys?
Yeah. Skeptical sexist Sam.
Skeptical sexist Sam strikes again. Radical racist Ralph, everybody.
What's the
last thing is PlayStation's going to be doing a TV and a movie thing, people. Yes. I'm super excited for that. I want to see God of War.
I
TV show.
Would not want to see a God of War TV show or movie because I can't see how it would be any better than the game.
It doesn't have to be better. It just has to be an extension of the lore, and I'm cool with that.
Who would play Kratos?
Me.
Good meme.
Boy,
Corey, this is his job interview right here, Corey.
Maybe I can play that.
Take your shirt off, Sam. See what you look like.
I look like
recasting you as one of the fat minions.
I can't even talk.
Gotta quit smoking.
Yes.
So, guys, that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. We're very neatly on an hour. Can I say I'm extremely impressed with our own ability to time manage. We've got Laymen merch. You can find it on one of our other videos. There'll be a link. If you're watching the VOD, we'll put a link in the description below.
Yeah, and don't
you can
buy
the Fun Hub merch right here.
Fun Hub.
Not the Fun Hub merch.
Yeah, the Fun Hub merch.
And it's going to be available for only another 2 weeks because then we have new limited edition merch coming.
Oh, it's going to be the coolest merch ever. So check it out, guys. And remember...
No,
Buddhists.
Don't do that. And we're going to be doing the same thing next week on the show. We're going to be here at the same time, so make sure you tune in for that.
No, we're not, because we got a wedding.
You have a wedding?
Oh, wait, we do. No, it's later on the day, sorry.
Who has a wedding at 8 o'clock in the
sorry,
morning?
I was just forgetting about that. We've got a wedding later. We've both got a wedding. James' wedding.
Oh my god, it's James' wedding.
Ralph's an idiot.
Our cousin's getting married.
Ralph's an idiot.
Shit, I forgot about that. Damn. Alright, cool, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Love you. Long time. And we'll see you on Monday morning if there's news and if we could be bothered to cover it.
Yeah.
Young out.